people asked me recently how to encourage your children or daughters to wear hijab. And also, people have been asking me about how our daughter decided to put on hijab. So, our oldest daughter, Asiye, welcome Asiye, has agreed to talk about her experience and how she put on hijab and what that was like for her. So, Asiye, welcome. Thank you for being willing to talk to everybody and share your story, and I'll reward you. Can you tell everybody when and how you made that decision?
It was in third grade. I have no idea what, like, the date. If to me it just came, but apparently it was after doing a research of Malala.
Yeah, so this is really interesting actually that Asiye doesn't remember this, but so Asiye was being homeschooled at the time, and we had just finished a project, or she had just finished a project about Malala. And it was pretty much to the day when she stopped the research project, we finished the research project, that she decided to put on the hijab. And I remember having this conversation with her dad and us really thinking about the significance about having female Muslim role models, because Asiye learned about a female Muslim role model and then made the decision to put on hijab. So, okay, so you make the decision to put on hijab, you're in grade 3. And then afterwards, you ended up going back to school. What was that like?
So I was a really social child. I am a social child, which is why, like, a lot of people knew me, and I loved being like everyone's friend and like having talks with everyone. So when I had a scarf on, basically everyone knew I had a scarf on, and everyone knew who I was. That was like my classmates, actually, they really liked it, and they were like, you look older like this. And after a couple other girls started putting it on, it was fun for the first couple months because I was the only person in the whole school, and like they would come up and say hi or something, and I had no clue who they were. So yeah, it was fun.
Okay, because you liked being older. Okay, and you were the only child in your class that had hijab on. You were the only one in your school that had hijab on besides some teachers, right?
Yes.
So you said that eventually some other girls put on hijab. Tell me about that. Did you have conversations with other friends, and were there any? Those were positive things, but were there any difficult times at school?
I mean, there were times where girls, like in my class, would say that I looked better without a scarf on, and I liked how I looked both ways, so it really didn't matter to me. So, yeah, I really didn't care about what they said when they thought I looked better without a scarf on. And sometimes the girls would just wear a hijab for a day and then take it off. And because we were like 4 girls, and then in 4th grade we were about 8. So until then, the girls used to put hijab on and off. And our teacher, she also had a scarf on, and she was one of the only teachers who used to like celebrate on the Prophet's birthday or something like that, and we used to always like have these plays or something at school. And usually, if we had like a play or something, we usually all had the scarf on, or we all looked the same, or so she kind of also encouraged us to put a scarf on, so yeah.
Well, she was an example for you. Yeah, she was a good example for you. Okay, so maybe this is a good point, since you talked about that you had some friends who put hijab on, and so some friends who didn't put hijab on. What about for example, girls that want to try it out? Maybe they're not ready to wear hijab, but they want to just like test it out. Is it okay to wear it for a day and then to not wear it for a day and try and feel it out?
Yeah, I did that in the 2nd grade. Like, I put it on a couple days and then I didn't do it. Or I still have a friend. She puts on a scarf at school, because usually a lot of our friends and a lot of people also has a scarf on at school. So she put it on at school, and then she doesn't outside of school. So I think that's like actually a good way to start, because it's hard putting on a scarf. It could be what people think, it could be about the heat, or like it could be about anything. So it's a good way to start. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, or can you share some of the difficulties you've experienced. You said it's difficult, so let's talk about some of the difficulties you've experienced.
So there was a couple times in Kodike when I'm staying at my grandparents, like, oh, someone would come up and say something about me having a scarf on. And that also happened before when I was younger, and when we used to live there. So while we were walking on the street, sometimes with my mother, I used to put a scarf on too. And they would come up and say something to my mother or me. Besides that, in Canada, there was once that we also got, they had called us a terrorist on the bus. And that was probably because we had a scarf on, because otherwise there was no way they could understand we were Muslim.
So I mean, we were as a family, so that wasn't, but you had a hijab on, I had a hijab on, and we were confronted on the bus. And then there was also other people that stood up for us, so there was,
it feels good to know that strangers also, like, because some really care, and they will say something about you having a scarf on, or they will make you feel so bad, like, it's really annoying. And then these people come up and they stand by you. It's really, like, you feel like you are so strong because of them. It's good.
Yes.
It feels really
good. So if you have hijabi Muslim friends, that's your message. Stand by them. Stand by anybody that is experiencing oppression and injustice. Yes. But now one of the significant memories that I have, let's see if I can explain it without crying. When you put on hijab, no, you didn't want to share it, but we've talked about it, is that the week that you decided to put on hijab, you were also invited to go somewhere with a family that we knew, and they invited you to an amusement park. But beforehand, they had to stop at their child's school. And you put on hijab, and then this is 3 days later, you ran out, you're going to go with them, as you do almost every weekend, and they didn't know you had put on hijab. And you got to their car, and they told you, what did they tell you?
That I had to take it off if I wanted to go with them. So.
That you had to take your hijab off if you wanted to go with them, because they said that you wouldn't have been allowed in the school that they were going to, right? And so I was standing at the kitchen window, and I saw Asiye come running back, and I wondered what was wrong, and you told me this story, and of course I was enraged as a parent, saying of course you'd be allowed to go into that school. And I was so sad because that was your first week of putting hijab on, and I was really worried about what that would do to your morale, and that was a very difficult moment.
That day I actually took my scarf off to go, and now I feel so annoyed, and it just feels so bad to have done that, because I should have just had it taken that off. It feels so bad to know that I made a mistake then.
Okay, so as your mom, so you, first of all, you were not accountable at that stage, right? Which you know. And that family should have known better, not you, right? That was that other family's responsibility to include you regardless of what was on your head or not on your head, right? And so thank you for being so brave, for sharing that story. Okay, something positive. Moving away. Now, Asiye, what advice, so we see obviously there's difficult moments, that's part of it. The reward is great, which is also I think why it's so important that we keep it in perspective about commenting on women's dress code, because we see that this is a difficult thing, it's a difficult choice, right? And we need to encourage each other. And so tell me, how would you encourage, if there's a young girl watching this right now who says, I want to put on hijab, I'm scared, I don't know what it's going to be like, what would you say to her?
It's difficult, I know it is. It could be because of anything, but basically it's usually because of what will other people think. And I mean, don't give a care, because at some point, like, this is what you have to think. If we thought about what people would do every moment of our life, then we would all have to be the same. We would have to be robots being the same thing, and we're not born in the same places, we're not born in the same issues, we're not born in the same color, we're not born in the same shape. So you really have to stop thinking about what people think in that part. And sometimes it's hard because you might have pressure also by the people around you. Yeah, you have
to put it on or take it off, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you don't have to think about it. Like, you have to not care about it at that point.
Yeah. And what about, and your close friends, are your close friends, are they still your friends today?
Yes, like, I mean, in first, second and third grade, so those friends then, I still, some of them I still talk with, and they were always there for me, no matter what they thought. And basically, that's the person you want to be with. Like, those are the people you want to share your life with, because those are the people who will stand by you even if you do something bad, or like even if you make a mistake, they will be there for you.
So yeah, that's the message, is that the people that really care about you, they're going to love you even if you have a job or if you don't have a job, right? Or how you dress or how you whatever, right? Okay, and what advice do you have for parents who are hoping to encourage their daughters to wear hijab, but what advice do you have for those parents?
Firstly, don't open that aspect a lot. So like, don't keep talking about it all the time, because it's annoying. At some point, like, that will be like, oh my gosh, it's annoying. Like, oof, like that might happen. Otherwise, the best thing it could probably be is like, if you start putting on hijab, you'll see that you have to basically you might have to change your wardrobe. So like, if you used to wear short clothes, you might have to put like on things that are more modest. So I have a couple people who come up to me, and I like wearing pants because I run around a lot. So I like going into forests and taking hikes, which is why I usually wear pants if I'm going somewhere like that. And they will be like, you can't wear that, you're covered, you have to wear something longer or something like that. That's not the case. You just have to cover your aura, and everyone has different styles. So like, I would like wearing pants and tunics. Someone else might like wearing dresses. Someone else like it. Yeah, everyone has different styles. So when you start wearing a hijab, you want to have your style in a way that you can use it all the time, or you can wear it, but it's also fun. So like, putting on different colored hijabs or different clothes, like buying stuff then might also encourage.
Okay, so parents should allow their children, their teens, their daughters to experiment a little bit in terms of what makes them feel comfortable or still stylish or still feel like they have their own style and appearance. I think that's what you're trying to articulate, right? And what about, for example, taking your daughters to go to a scarf store just to see what's available? Is that something that is good?
I remember we were in a scarf store before I even had a hijab on, and there was this hijab. It was sparkly, it was pink, and I really, really liked it. And I remember buying that. That was like, I really liked that time, because I still don't have a hijab on, but just seeing how pretty it was, I really wanted to have a hijab on. So yeah.
Something like that. Okay. And so don't talk about it too much. Expose them. Don't criticize other things about dress. Allow them to kind of experiment. Those are some words of advice for adults. Anything else? What about, okay, so
there for them, basically.
Yeah, encourage them, try and motivate them with praise. Yeah, one of the things that I think that's really important, and it's again from Asiye's experience, is that I think that as parents it's really important that we put strong other Muslim role models, right? So we're talking about books, literature, exposing them to stories of real women that have gone through this before. This is one of the reasons Asiye was willing to share her story, so somebody else could see or experience her, what she's experienced. But knowing that there's hijabi Muslim Olympic athletes and politicians and actors and actresses and these kinds of people, so exposing your daughters to those kinds of people throughout history, but especially in today's day and age, I think is really important. And I think that it's very important. Representation matters, and we need to make sure our daughters know that they can have a hijab and still achieve all of your dreams, do everything, right? Asiye, thank you for sharing your story and being brave and showing vulnerability, and also may Allah make you always love hijab and always be strong with it, and may He reward you for your struggle and put you into Jannat al-Firdaus with the Prophet ﷺ and those in hijabs. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.